Then we have Craftworld Eldar. Children of Asurian. Eldar are cool. I like Eldar. I play Eldar in Kill Team. I play Aeldari Corsairs, the Void's card. But I don't love Eldar. This makes me excited for Eldar. This makes me way more excited for Eldar than I was before. The new way of Strands of Fates. You roll 12d6. You can re-roll them all if you want to. But then you only get to roll 11d6. Then you can do the same thing. You can go all the way down to 1 if you want to for some crazed reason. But you can do it. Once you're satisfied, then you get to take them. And before making a dice roll, kind of like Miracle Dice, you can substitute these instead. But just like Miracle Dice, you can't use them for multiple things. So you have Advanced Roll, Hit Roll, Battle Shock Test, Saving Throw, Charge Roll, Wound Roll, Damage Roll. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Detachment rolls Unparalleled Foresight. Each time an Aeldari unit from your army selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit roll and roll 1 wound roll. I really like this because the Eldar are able to pick ahead of time and see, like, ooh, which one? Because fluff-wise, lore-wise, they're always trying to see ahead of what's happening battle-wise, so they know if they're going to lose or not, so they know whether to commit forces to it or not. It's cool. It makes a lot of sense fluff-wise. Now, we have a Farseer here. This is where we get to see more of the Psychic that I'd mentioned before. Eldritch Storm, Shuriken Pistol is not Psychic, but Eldritch Storm is. And we also get, like, Branching Fate with it. So once per turn, when you use a Fate dice, substitute a roll made for a model or unit within 12 inches of a Farseer model from your army. One model from your army with this ability can use it. If it does, the result of that Fate dice is changed to a 6. And that means yep, I got a 6. I got a 6. And in Fortune, you can roll 1d6 in your command phase. On a 2-up, select one friendly Eldar unit within 12 inches of the Psyker. At the start of your next command phase, each time an attack targets that unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. And he's got a 4-up invuln. Pretty solid. I like this a lot. This is a really solid. I'm more interested in playing Craftworld Eldar than I ever have been before. I'll put it that way. The Guardian Defenders are pretty cool. They've got 2 different stat lines here. One for regular, one for heavy weapon platform, which I like. I think a really good way to do that. At the end of your command phase, for each objective mark you control that has 1 or more units from your army within a range of it, I'll roll 1d6 and add it to your fate die. Awesome. So sisters start with few, have a lot of ways to gain more. Eldar start with a bunch. Don't have as many ways to get them, it seems like so far at least. And the heavy weapons platform can wait until the end. So that's cool. And we have the Prism Cannon, 60-inch range. Great. And Linked Fire means you can have more than one Prism Cannon, and they can hit even if only one of them can see the enemy. That's very strong. Then they have Fire and Fade. Into your shooting phase, 1 Eldar unit from your army can make a normal move. It cannot embark with a transport or end its move. You cannot select an aircraft or unit within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units until the end of the turn. The unit selected is not eligible to declare a charge. So for 2 CP, you get to move. You get to shoot and then move to get out of there. Which is pretty cool. With the art, too. One up against Gene Stealers, looks like. Yeah, definitely Gene Stealers. They recommend Path the Eldar and Ghost Warrior. Again, this is the most interested I've been in Eldar in a long time. So I'm stoked for this. This is cool. Kind of excited to play against this, honestly. Then we have Death Guard, the Rotted Brotherhood. This is one a lot of people are upset about. Nurgle's Gift of the Aura. So the Aura before was 1-3-6-9. Now it's just 3-6-9. So you start with 3, move up to 6, and then 9. Anything that's within contagion range, subtract 1 from the toughness. I know that doesn't seem like a big thing, but when most enemies have, like, we have a knight here. This is a knight. It has toughness 10. That becomes toughness 9. May not seem like a lot, but it makes a pretty big difference. And on a Horde army, let me pull back up Guard. On a Horde army, that brings them down to T2. So it does make a difference. I know it's not discussing the resilient, and we're going to get to that. People are very upset. Spread the Sickness. If you control an objective marker at the end of your command phase and a Death Guard unit from your armies within range of the objective marker, that objective marker is infected and remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it. In addition, while an objective marker is infected or under your control, it has the Nurgle's Gift ability as if it was a unit from your army. So, basically, you infect it, it becomes sticky, and then it becomes stinky. And it is very It's not difficult to go get 2, for instance, but if somebody gets within 9 inches of that, which they're probably going to do because they want to get close enough to be able to grab it, their toughness goes down. So if they get within range but can't quite get to close enough to grab it, to flip it, you can shoot them on the next turn, and they have lower toughness again, even though they're not within your contagion range, which is pretty good. Now, Blightlord Termies are here. They have 3 wounds, pretty solid. Move 4 inches. A lot of people are upset about that they move so slow. I felt like Death Guard would move slow. They always have. But before they had Disgustingly Resilient to make up for it. Now they just have a 4-up invuln. And I get why people are upset. The Plague Spewer is doing work here. That thing is incredible. D6, auto hits, anti-infantry 2-ups, ignores cover, torrent, 5 strength, -1 AP, 1 damage per shot. That thing's doing work. But they don't have Disgusting Resilient. So are they going to be as tough? It's hard to say. They save on a 2-up, which is pretty good. I mean, even our Armiger Warglaives here are only saving on 3-ups. So that's pretty good. But will it be enough? We're going to have to wait and see, I guess. They have Blistering Fusillade. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack, if it targets the closest eligible enemy unit, reroll a wound roll of 1. It's pretty solid. And then, of course, we have the Malignant Plague Caster. I actually thought it was going to be Mortarion, but pretty good stuff here. Plague Wind, Witchfire, and Focus Witchfire for its psychics. And it has Gift of Contagion. In your shooting phase, you can select 1 enemy unit within 18 inches of and visible to this Psyker and roll 1d6. On a 1, this Psyker unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. On a 2-up until the start of your next shooting phase, each time a model in the enemy unit makes a melee attack, subtract 1 from the wound roll. You just give them the Gift of Contagion. If you roll a 1, you're going to take some damage. But if not, you're doing pretty good. And then Pestilent Fallout in your shooting phase. After this model is shot, if 1 or more of these attacks made with its Plague Wind scored a wound against an enemy infantry unit, till the start of your next turn, subtract 2 from that unit's move characteristic, and subtract 2 from advance and charge. You just slow them down. It's really cool. Really, really nice and evocative. Like it. The Plague Burst Mortar is also putting in work. It has Plague Burst Crawler ability for Spore Lace Shockwaves. Shooting phase after this model is shot, if 1 or more of those attacks made with its Plague Burst Mortar scored a hit against enemy infantry unit, that infantry unit must take a Battle Shock test. 48 inch range, going to hit pretty much anything on the board. D6 plus 3 attacks, 3-ups, 8 strength, AP -1, damage 2. Very, very solid. That's going to be great. And then they have Sanguis Flux. Sorry, not Flex. That's a different thing. As their stratagem that they show off here. During the fight phase, 1 Death Guard unit from your army that hasn't fought yet, till the end of the phase, weapons equipped by models in this unit have the sustained hits 1. While your unit is within range of an infected objective marker you control, those weapons have sustained hits 2 instead. Really good, and as they point out, will be incredible on Blightlord Terminators. They recommend Dark Imperium Plague War, and Dark Imperium Godblight, but they're okay. I think the loss of Disgustingly Resilient is kind of annoying, and we haven't seen the regular troopers yet. They might have it. I'm hoping they do. But at the same time, 2-up saves is really good. So maybe it's just baked into the sheet. I still would have rather had an ability that was Disgustingly Resilient. This is the only one that I've walked away going like, man, I understand. I don't know if I like it. And then finally for now, we have... I say finally, this video, Tao's coming out tomorrow, so we're probably going to put them in here before this video goes out. We have Imperial Knights in Adamant Clad. Code Chivalric. Knights are super cool, by the way. I want to get a Knight so bad. If your army faction's Knights, at the end of the Read Mission objective step, you must select one of the oaths below. At the start of any of your command phase, selected oath's deed is completed. Your army becomes honored for the rest of the battle, and you gain 3 CP. Only gain CP in this way once per battle. If you choose Laylo the Tyrant, your oath abilities each time this model is selected to shoot or fight, reroll a hit roll of 1 and reroll a wound roll of 1. And the deed is completed if the enemy warlord is destroyed. So if you take down the warlord and you reclaim the realm, if you choose that one, you add 1 to this model's move and 1 to advance and charge. Only if you control 1 or more objective markers in your opponent's deployment zone. It's pretty solid. Now we get to see here that Indomitable Heroes means, for part of the Noble Lance attachment, means that all Imperial Knight models from your army have the Feel No Pain 6-up ability. If your army's honored, these models have the Feel No Pain 5-up. If you complete one of those, you get a 5-up instead of a 6-up field up. Impetuous Glory. Each time this model makes a charge move till the end of your turn, melee weapons equipped by this model have sustained hits 1, which is very good. The Warglaives are doing pretty solid here, and they have a 5-up, which is pretty good against ranged. It's not against melee, but against ranged, like most of the Knights do. It's pretty great. The Canis Rex is the big boy. I wish they'd showed us the back of the card where we get to see Sir Hector's stats, because that's a cool part of this thing. When you take out the Knight, you still got to deal with Sir Hector. He's an epic hero, and I like this a lot. I really do. They put the war gear option of the unit composition here because the backside is a different character, right? But you can only take the one Canis Rex in this unit. But he's a legendary free blade, so once per turn you can target this model with a stratagem for 0 CP, and can do so even if you've already targeted a different unit with that stratagem in the same phase, which is awesome. And then Chainbreaker, each time this model makes an attack, an unmodified successful hit roll of 5-up scores a critical hit. And he also has the invuln against 5-ups. 22 wounds, T12, very, very solid, 10-inch move. Really like that getting free stratagems. That's awesome. Especially if you've already used it, you can still do it, doesn't matter. And then the unmodified hit rolls of 5-ups for critical hits with sustained hits. Ooh, baby. He's gonna be great. Then the Thunder Coil Harpoon. Anti-monster 4-up. Anti-vehicle 4-up. Devastating wounds. 12 damage. 18-inch range. You gotta get up close. Single attack. You get 1 shot. 2 ups. 24 strength. -6 AP for D12. And because it has anti-monster 4-up and anti-vehicle 4-up, you might as well just say, hey, yeah, it's gone. You one-shot that vehicle. You one-shot that monster. It's taken care of. The rapid-fire battle cannon, while not quite as good as the Thunder Coil Harpoon, you get to use it a lot more, and it's very solid. 72-inch range, D6 plus 3, 3 ups, 10 strength, -1 AP, and 3 damage. Very, very good. And then they have Shoulder the Burden, which is pretty solid during your command phase. 1 Imperial Knight model from your army that's lost 1 or more wounds. Till the start of your next command phase, improve your model's move, toughness, save, leadership, and objective control characteristics by 1. And each time your model makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. That's really good. Just, yeah, all their stats go up by 1. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. If your army's honored, you can use this stratagem another time. That's real good, especially since you can do it for free over here. And then Trophy Claim, your shooting phase or the fight phase. 1 Imperial Knight model from your army that's not been selected to shoot or fight this phase, and 1 enemy monster or vehicle unit. Till the end of the phase, each time your model makes an attack that targets an enemy unit, add 1 to the wound roll. If your model destroys the enemy unit this phase, you gain 1 CP. But if your model does not destroy the enemy unit this phase, you cannot use this stratagem again for the rest of the battle. You use this with the Harpoon. Boom! 1 more CP. You got it for free, basically. It's awesome. It's cool. It's great. It's thematic. It's fluffy. I love it. It makes me want to play Knights. King's Blade, Knights of the Imperium, Knight's Blade, I love it. The Iron Kingdom, I love it. So stoked for Tau. So stoked for Tau. It's Tau time, and I like the Tau rules quite a bit, honestly. Let's just get into it here. So it's for the greater good, because it wouldn't be anything else. And for the greater good is also the army rule. And I really like this one. I tried to record like a first impressions of it, which I'm going to do for the next one. But I tried to record a first impressions of it and got really confused by the wording on this one, because the wording on it is a little rough. I think they definitely could have worded this better. But at its core, my understanding of what it does is you take 1 unit. That unit becomes the spotter, the observer unit. I got to make sure I get these words right. The observer unit. And the other is the guided unit. And then you have the spotted unit. So you take a unit on the table, and you'll see an enemy unit, and you'll say, hey, I'm spotting that unit. This unit's going to become the observer. They're going to tell that unit over there, another one of my units, to fire. That unit's the guided unit, and that unit gets a +1 on their ballistic skills for that shot. Again, I'm gonna try and lay this out. So we have my unit, right? And then we have another one of my unit. But then over here is an enemy unit. This guy is going to look at that guy and go, hey, I got to make sure you should attack that guy. And then this guy's going to go, okay, sure. And he's going to attack him. And he gets a +1. Also, if the observer has marker lights, then he gets to ignore cover too, which is cool. That's nice. Each time a model in a guided unit makes an attack that does not target their spotted unit, worsen their ballistic skill by 1. Now, you don't have to do this. This is a choice that you get, and I've seen a lot of people upset about this. This is a choice that you get. If you don't want to do it, you can just not do it. But there doesn't seem to be a reason not to do it, because the guided unit gets a +1. The observer unit still gets to shoot afterwards and doesn't have to shoot that target. They can shoot whoever they want. So it really doesn't feel like there's a reason not to do it. Hey, this unit's observing, this unit's spotting. I mean, no, I'm sorry. Spotting would make sense for observing. I keep tripping on that. This unit's observing, this unit is guided, this is the enemy. And you just automatically always have the guided unit shoot next, and there you go. No problem solved. You're not going to get too confused unless you keep trying to call it spotting like me. Either way, it's a rule that I think makes a lot of sense and works pretty well. I just wish it was worded better. It's cool. It's fluffy. I think it makes marker lights way better. We're going to see in a minute that the Pathfinders can do it twice per turn, which is really cool. There's a lot of different options that we get here. We're going to get into all that. But first we have Kaoyun. Kaoyun is one of the different... This is the detachment rule. It's also one of the different strategies, the philosophies, as it were, you could use as Tau. Mokka is like one of the most popular ones. But Kaoyun was also like solid. It wasn't the best before. But again, not a Tau player. Just from people that I know that play Tau, what they have said. Now, from the third battle round onwards, all ranged weapons equipped by Tau Empire models have Sustain 1, and while they're guided, they have Sustain 2, which is yet another reason why you want to use Guidance, because it's very, very good, and it's going to make you a lot stronger. Sustain hits 2 is real good. Real good. With marker lights on, you're ignoring cover, you have Sustain hits 2 from third round on, and you're getting a +1. Tau's going to be hitting hard, and we see that with the Pathfinder's sheet here. We're going to zoom in again a little bit more. Hitting on 4s for the burst cannon, hitting on 3s for the ion rifle. Or no, I'm sorry, that's attacks. Man, it's been a long day. 4 attacks with the burst rifle, 3 attacks with the ion rifle. Hitting on 5s, that sounds bad, right? 5s is not that bad. It's more often than not you're going to miss, right? Tau's been that way for a while, though. That's why people call them sometimes the Stormtrooper Army. But because of the Observer and the Guided with Further Greater Good, because of Further Greater Good, you can use them to give somebody else a better rating. Or if you're using them and you have a Pulse Carbine on them and there's another unit over there, they can observe for the greater good for the Pathfinder team, and now they're hitting on 3s instead of hitting on 4s, which is pretty good. I think it's a really solid system that makes it where all of your units, even the ones that are a little bit less accurate, can do something and be useful. Then we have, once per turn, when using greater good ability, you select this unit to be observer unit for a second time. When doing so, you can change which enemy unit is this unit's spotted unit. So, of course, as we said, you can do it a second time, pick a different target this time. Pathfinders automatically, that's an auto include as far as I'm concerned if you're playing Tau, just to be able to do that. Just, hey, yeah, +1 for you and +1 for you. Those are your guys. Take them down. If the first one doesn't take that guy down, you know what? That guy's got to go down. We got to get Mortarion off the board. Here you go. Another shot. And then the drones. This is really interesting because the drones are included in War Gear. And we're going to see in a little bit that that's the way they're going to go moving forward. But grab inhibitor drones, subtract 2 from charge rolls made for enemy in a unit that declares a charge against the bear's unit. Not cumulative with any other reductions. Pulse accelerator drone is add 6 to the range characteristics of pulse carbines. So then, 26-inch range. Probably more likely to take pulse carbines on this unit to hit on the 4s. Then recon drone. Bearer is equipped with 1 drone burst cannon, and the bear's unit has the infiltrator's ability, which is pretty great. I like that the drones are now war gear. I like that a lot. We're going to get into that right here. Now And I saw some people say, well, now I don't have any reason to paint my drones. Well, you could still put the drone there as a visual indicator to your opponent that they have that war gear. That would be really cool of you to do. But Guardian Drone, each time a model makes a ranged attack that targets the bear's unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. Wow. Gun Drone. The bear is equipped with the following ranged weapon. Twin Pulse Carbine, Twin Linked. So you can do a lot of fun stuff with that. 2 attacks hitting on 5 ups, 5 strength. Pretty solid. Marker Drone. Bear's unit has the marker light keyword. You're going to want this on your Pathfinders for their observing, for the greater good. Even if it advanced this turn, he can still be an observer unit. Missile Drone, Missile Pod, 30-inch range, 2 attacks, 5 ups, 7 strength, AP2, D2, pretty solid. Pretty good there. And then the Shield Drone to add 1 to the bear's wounds. So again, if we look at this, if we had included those, Pathfinders can go up to 2 wounds. All right. And that's not even counting, like, can I still take these with Farsight? Can I still take these with Shadow Sun? Obviously, I wasn't doing that before, but just bear with me, chat. It's not our viewers. It's not chat. We're not streaming right now. It's been a day. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this that I like a lot. I think the people that are panicking about this, calm down. It's going to be okay. There's a very good chance that that this is going to be great for Tau. And then even still, they don't have drone swarms out there, so we don't know what the limits are yet on war gear. I mean, the rules are out there, but I'm not getting into that here. But theoretically, you could take more than 1, and then you could add a couple wounds to your stuff, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now, granted, you might only be able to take 1 because it's a war gear. But if you can take 1 for every unit, that's an extra wound. That goes a long way. So, pretty solid. Then we have the railgun, as it should be. Heavy, devastating wounds. 72-inch range. A single attack per turn. But 4 ups. 20 strength. Minus 5 AP. D6 plus 6 damage. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You're going to be shooting down pretty much anything on the board with that, I think. That's pretty solid. And then the Pulse Blast Cannon on the Storm Surge. 24-inch range for focused. 48-inch range for dispersed. 2 attacks focused. 6 dispersed. 4 ups. 24 strength focused. 10 strength dispersed. Minus 6 AP focused. Minus 2 AP dispersed. 12 damage focused. 4 damage dispersed. With heavy on both. Very solid. And then, of course, the Strategic Ploy. This is pretty great. I like this a lot. When your opponent charges you, just after they declare the charge, 1 infantry unit from your army that was selected as the charge can get in a transport. They can embark in a transport instead. Oh, they're charging. Retreat! It's really funny. It's really fun. It's fluffy. It's cool. The Tau know they shouldn't be fighting in melee if they can help it, so they're getting out. And I like it a lot. Like it a whole lot. They don't really seem to recognize or recommend too much else when it comes to that, but we do have a couple books: Farsight, Farsight Empire Lies, Farsight Crisis of Faith, and then Damocles, Blades of Damocles, and Storm of Damocles. And that's all there is to Tau. I think Tau are doing pretty good here. I think they're going to be solid. I think people need to relax a little bit. Then we have Chaos Knights, and you got a spoiler for this because we're recording these back to back today. But Chaos Knights is next. Chaos Knights. Now, I haven't read this one yet. This is the first one that I'm going into having. It's the same day it's dropped. I haven't watched any content, haven't looked up anything on it. We're going straight into it with a first impressions, a live reaction. The Corruption of Chivalry. That is some seriously cool art. I love that. Wouldn't you rather just smash things? Okay, the baddest dudes in the galaxy, of course. I really like Chaos Knights. If I was to get into Knights, I'd probably do Imperial Knights, but Chaos Knights are very cool. Here may manifest, walking engines of pure destruction, chill the souls of all who gaze upon them. Imperial counterparts are all about courtly manners and noblesse oblige. Dread households prize nothing but sheer martial dominance. Many ways to exploit the quaking terror that they inspire in lowly mortals. Okay. Side of a lance, yeah, makes sense. Sheer Unbridled Terror, makes sense. The Harbingers of Dread, that's the army rule, okay. I don't know that much about Chaos Knights from 9th edition, gonna be honest. But, we'll find out. Your army faction is Chaos Knights. Each model from your army with this ability gains a bonus depending on which Dread abilities are active for your army. Once a Dread ability is active for your army, that ability applies until the end of the battle. Okay? So it's going to be just like the Imperial Knights have their... What are they called for... Oh, let's make sure we get this right. I don't want to tell you wrong. The Chivalric Code. They have their codes of chivalry. Their Oath Deed. Then you have the Harbingers of Dread abilities. From the first battle round onwards, the Despair ability is active for your army. While an enemy unit is within 12 inches of this model, each time the enemy unit takes a Battle Shock or Leadership, subtract 1. Ooh, that's really solid. Okay, and once you've selected it, once it's active, it's for the whole battle. So it's not you're having to select it, they're just both active at the same time. From the third battle round onwards, the Doom and Darkness ability is active. Each time this model makes an attack, the target's Battle Shocked, add 1 to the wound roll. Each time an attack targets this model, if the attacking model's unit is Battle Shocked, subtract 1 from the wound hit roll. Okay, all right. Interesting. I think that can work pretty well. So, turn 1, anything within range, have a harder time staying high on morale. Turn 3, anything it attacks or that attacks it is going to have some difficulties. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, lots of ways to cause Battle Shock. Chaos Knights take further advantage with a bonus to wound them. Formed into a Traitorous Lance Detachment. They also force Battle Shock tests on nearby units as soon as they've taken damage, turning a single fallen model into a cascade failure under the Fist and Chain Swords of Blasphemous War Machines forged in terror. Alright, so in the Battle Shock step of your opponent's command phase, if an enemy unit that is below starting strength is within 12 of a Chaos Knights model from your army, that enemy unit must take a Battle Shock test. For the purpose of this ability, if a unit has a starting strength of 1, it's considered to be below its starting strength and has lost 1 or more wounds. You can just force in an aura around you a Battle Shock test. That's pretty good. And of course, they're subtracting 1 from it because they're within 12. That's pretty good. We have a Despoiler. A Despoiler, and we get to see some of the war gear too, which is really nice. We'll make this a little bit bigger again. I feel like I only ever make it bigger. Never make it smaller. Demon Breath, Melting Gun, Reaper Chainsword, Titanic Feet, and Warp Strike Claw. One Night Despoiler. The Demon Breath Melting Gun can be replaced with 1 Diabolus Heavy Stubber. Reaper Chainsword can be replaced with a Thermal Cannon, a Gatling Cannon, a Dark Flamer, a Battle Cannon, and a Heavy Stubber. The Warp Claw can be replaced with a Thermal Cannon. So it's just the list, right? And then you can also come up with Havocs, Ruin Spears, or Hellstorm Autocannon. Okay. Then we have their Super Heavies. Still don't know yet what that exactly means, but we'll see. Dread Dominion, an aura. While a friendly War Dog is within 9 inches of this model, each time that War Dog takes a Battle Shock test, add 1. Nice. Very cool. Battle Shock is a big thing in 10th edition, it seems. Seething Hatred. Each time this model is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit roll, reroll 1 wound roll when resolving those attacks. Okay. And of course, we subtract 5 when it's down 1 to 7 wounds out of its 22 originally. It has the 5-up invuln against range attacks. These are some nice looking weapons here. Again, 72-inch range is, you don't even really need that. That's strong. AP minus 4, D6 damage. AP minus 4, D6. Strength 9, Strength 12. 1 attack versus 2d3 attacks. It's, you know, it's pretty good. The Ruin Spear rockets are even solid this time around with like 3 attacks, 3 ups, 8 strength, minus 2 AP. This thing's going to put out some damage. This is your Despoiler. It should be, right? If you're playing Chaos Knights, this thing should be a nightmare in combat. And it seems like it's going to be, for sure. I like it a lot. I like it a whole lot. I'm looking at that Despoiler Gatling Cannon with 18 attacks, all hitting on 3 ups, 6 strength, minus 2 damage. If you wound with all of those, that's 36 damage. $36 wounds. That's All of them 3-ups too, except for the Flamer, of course. All of them 3-ups. This thing is pretty good. It's pretty good. Okay, so this is 4 ranged weapons? No, this is an Abominant. Okay, I got very confused for a second. For some reason, I thought the second sheet was going to be War Dogs. I really did. Because they're talking about War Dogs and things like that, but I guess since they linked to it, I should have known it wasn't. The Abominant also has 22 wounds, also hitting on 3-ups. A Diabol's Heavy Stubber and a Volkite Combustor, Bale Mace, and Electro Scourge. It has Vortex Terrors at the start of your shooting phase. Select one enemy unit within 12 inches of this model. That enemy unit must take a Battle Shock test. And of course, because it's within 12, that means that it's a -1 from turn 1 because of Harbingers of Dread. That's pretty great. Then we have Warp Storms at the end of your movement phase. Roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 9 inches of this model. 3-up, that enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm really digging this. This is good fluff, good flavor, and very strong rules for Chaos Knights players. Chaos Knights players hopefully will be really happy with this. Again, I'm not big on Chaos Knights. I don't know their rules in 9th, but hopefully this is some good stuff for them. Because I think it looks really intimidating from a, hey, I play Blood Angels and Tyranids, and I'm getting into World Eaters. Most of my armies are melee. I'm going to have a tough time. I don't know how I'm going to fight this thing. Then, of course, it has the damage. Subtract 5 from OC. And each time the model makes attack, start 1 for the hit roll. 5-up invuln against ranged. We have the Desecrator Laser Destructor, which is a great name. 72-inch range, 3 attacks, hitting on 2-ups. 18 strength, AP -4, D6 plus 3 wounds. It's very, very strong. Very strong. And the Warp Strike Claw can also be brought. Oh boy, okay. 4 attacks, 3-ups, weapon skill, 20 strength, -3 AP, 8 damage for a strike. There's also a sweep, which is 8 attacks, 3-ups, strength 10, AP -2, D3. That's really solid. I don't know that I would want to switch out any of the other options because it's going to take us to the Desecrator page, right? But if that's the only 2 options it's got, that could be great, but I don't know that I'd want to swap those out for other options when we see like how many the Despoiler's got, for instance. Of course, the Abominant doesn't have that many options either, but maybe that's its main draws for the Desecrator. And then for the stratagem, we have Dread Hounds. Start of your shooting phase or the start of the fight phase, 2 or more War Dog units from your army, 1 enemy unit that's an eligible target for each of the selected War Dogs. At the end of the phase, the selected War Dog units can only target the enemy unit, but all weapons equipped by those War Dogs gain the sustained hits 1. In addition, if the enemy unit is battle shocked until the end of the phase, each time a selected War Dog model makes an attack against that enemy unit, unmodified hit roll of 5-up scores a crit. Ooh, that's really good. And you're running War Dogs already if you're playing Chaos Knights because they're your smaller guys. Don't really have infantry. They're the closest thing you got. That art is so good. So then they recommend Apex Predator and Loyal to the End. Okay, all right. Very cool. And then tomorrow is going to be Custodes, which I'm very excited for. We'll see how Custodes work in 10th. I think that they're going to be an elite of an elite army, and they're going to probably be very strong, but points cost are probably going to be very high if I had to guess. But we'll see. Until then.